Hey, it's John F. Gately. We're back for the press conference from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts, and we have now the participants of the press conference is coming up very soon. Todd Lyons, who's the acting ICE director. You might recognize that name because he used to be the field director here in Massachusetts. He will be the first speaker, and I think he's probably working out of Washington, D.C. We've just been informed that his time schedule today is tight. So he will be the first speaker, and he may even not even be able to stay for the entire press conference, but he will be the first speaker when this starts. And based upon the public information officer who joined the podium just a short time ago, that will be shortly. Then he'll be followed by the U.S. Attorney, Leah Foley, and then by Patricia Hyde, who's the field officer director. I'm sure I'm torturing the title, but she runs the field office here, which, if I'm not mistaken, used to be Mr. Lyons' position. And then we'll be joined by Michael Kroll. That's Krol. He is the Homeland Special Agent in Charge from Homeland Security of the Boston office. So that's where we're going to be joined from here. I'll give you a quick peek look at what this is going to look like when we're streaming the press conference. So here it is here, and no press conference yet. As of yet, we'll go to the small screen here. You might remember that it was not that long ago that U.S. Attorney Foley was issuing this statement.
Allegedly smuggled clawed frog embryos and embryonic samples into the U.S. from overseas, and then repeatedly lied to customs.
The person who smuggled the frog samples, and then previous to that, she had issued a statement about, and I think that was a written statement that she had issued relative to the, how do I want to say this? It was an indirect statement relative to the issue that happened in Worcester with the city councilor and the school committee candidate, and whether or not they were going to be prosecuted. So it was an indirect statement. We have not heard, and there have been no announcements and no indications or anything of whether anybody who's going to be prosecuted by what happened in Worcester. But, you know, it's out there, theoretically. It's out there that it is possible that there'd be prosecution from that. This is also supposed to be streamed on the YouTube channel. And here we go here. It is also on the YouTube channel waiting. They just kind of have a screen grab here. Nothing much at the YouTube channel. The staffer did say that they would be starting exactly at 11:30. So I was not prepared to wait. But here we are, a couple of minutes late, and the crowd is joining. So I'm glad that you're here. We'll join as soon as possible. So they did say that the ICE director, acting ICE director, I should say, Mr. Lyons, was on a short time window. So hopefully, so just bring you up to date. Over the weekend, of course, we had this horrific attack by an illegal alien criminal in Boulder, Colorado, on the march that was organized for the October 7th victims and hostages out in Israel. And man allegedly threw Molotov cocktails at the marchers, Jewish marchers. Just like horrific incident out in Boulder, Colorado. Legal alien let into the country by the Biden administration, overstayed his visa. We had the situation in Milford where an 18-year-old also student at Milford High School was arrested and by ICE. And we don't know anything beyond that other than the fact of a couple of things that we don't know. We've heard from the player or his friend that was in the car at the time of the arrest. We've heard from his girlfriend, but we have not heard, strangely enough, from his parents or his family, which I think, some of these instances, you have to look at what happens. Everyone focuses on what happens, but sometimes you have to ask the question, what didn't happen? You would think that, like, if my kid got arrested by Homeland Security, I'd be like in front of the district attorney's office or Homeland Security. I'd be available to speak to the media. Like, where's my kid? Right? Where's my kid? If my kid got arrested, I'd be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? But we haven't seen any parent or guardian or any other person, only his girlfriend and his friend, not his family, not his parents in any way, shape, or form. The Boston media doesn't seem to be asking any questions about that. Over the weekend, we also had dueling statements from Governor Healy. One was a statement of demanding immediate answers about the Milford incident, which it sounds as if she's going to get some immediate answers right now from U.S. Attorney Leah Foley. And then the other one was a statement relative to the incident in Boulder, Colorado, which she did not seek immediate answers, but also ignored, or I should say, and also ignored the fact that the guy was an illegal alien that committed the act. And she also ignored the fact that literally this whole Free Palestine thing is a central pillar of the Democratic Party base in Massachusetts and in the United States, right? These are the people these are more voters if they could vote. And we all know that some of them actually do vote. And cue the outraged white liberal lady. Media always seems to find, I just saw it again on Fox 25 this morning in Milton, the outraged liberal white lady saying, this is horrible, we shouldn't have this. But what we're going to learn here from, and Bill Maluzhin broke this story earlier today, all credit to him, he's been on fire in the last 5 days, as always. ICE has just finished a massive sweep in Massachusetts that arrested 461 people. We're getting very close to this press conference. Everyone seems to be assembled. It's just a matter of time. Let's see if we can bring up it on the screen here. We have some artwork in the background, some officials. We are very, very close to moving forward here. Appreciate you guys being with us. See some more people here walking up to the podium. We're going to get some details on this. Mr. Lyons, there he is. I think there's Miss Foley. And again, we're first going to hear, I think this is from the Public Information Officer. Here he goes here.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is James Covington. I am the Regional Communications Director for ICE Northeast. More importantly, today, I am the Communications Director for ICE Boston. Thank you for coming out to our press conference announcing the results of a recent enhanced immigration targeted operation. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Communications Director for ICE Boston. Thank you for coming out to our press conference announcing the results of
Before we begin, I just want to take a special thank you to thank our partners. Without partnership, this is really key to the success of the ICE mission and DHS as a whole. To U.S. Attorney Leah Foley, the Boston Field Office Director Patricia Hyde, Special Agent in Charge Michael Crow, Mike Manning, Customs and Protection Boston, Scott Reed of the ATF, Matt O'Brien at Diplomatic Security Service, Stephen Bello, DEA, Brian Keyes, U.S. Marshals, and the men and women of the U.S. Border Patrol that are with us every day. These brave men and women have worked tirelessly to arrest approximately 1,500 criminal aliens and illegal aliens during Operation Patriot. In the beginning of May, ICE hit its federal and state partners launched the whole of government effort to remove dangerous criminal aliens from all over the Commonwealth. I'll let our Boston field office director give you the specific numbers of Operation Patriot. But what I can tell you is this, that hundreds of brave officers and agents risk their lives every day here in the Commonwealth to remove dangerous criminals from Boston, Worcester, Springfield, Lowell, Lawrence, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and several other communities across the Commonwealth. Significant amount of the criminal aliens that are arrested by the teams were drug traffickers, sex offenders, murderers, and foreign fugitives.
Uh-oh, looks like we hit a glitch here with the feed. Maybe we should switch to, we're going to switch to YouTube to see if it's working there.
Immigration target.
To arrest approximately 1,500 criminal aliens and illegal aliens during Operation Patriot. In the beginning of May, ICE and its federal and state partners launched the
We're
whole
going to go
of
with the
government
YouTube
effort.
feed. The YouTube feed is also down. Uh-oh, gremlins in the system. The YouTube feed is also down. This is not good. So we'll just wait to see what happens, but that's a shame. Yeah, not good. Not good. So that's a real shame. Yeah. Broadcast is awaiting signal. So we'll stand by, I guess. Well, hopefully, I wonder if I'm the only one that has. If you're watching from your own phone or your own desktop, I wonder if you could tell me if you're also experiencing the same problem. Looking at both the YouTube feed and the Facebook feed, it seems to me as if they're both down. If anyone is watching here and they want to chime in with a comment to tell me if you can see it both also down on your device, that I'd love that feedback if you could. What we were hearing from there was the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, who again used to be in charge of the regional office here in Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. Sure, I'm getting the title slightly incorrect. But he was covering the fact that ICE for the last several weeks has been here in Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken, Lawrence, Lowell, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, a number of different communities he mentioned, drug traffickers, fugitives wanted back in their home country, like I was speaking about earlier today. And he was going to allow both Patricia Hyde and Michael Kroll get into the actual details, some of which has been already announced by Fox's Bill Maloogian. Earlier this morning, he broke that news ahead of the press conference. Again, still waiting for the feed. Feed seems to be frozen. I'm not sure if I'm now looking at the comments live on their own page, and yeah, apparently the feed is toast. The feed is toast. It's not only me. So that is a real shame. I really looking forward to. I had considered actually traveling to the city to go to this, but I didn't know if I had the right credentials to get in. So yeah, there was that. And now we have a broken feed. Yeah, so that definitely not just me. That is a shame. It's a really important press conference. It was a press conference, in fact, that was going to provide Maura Healey. She said she wanted immediate answers, and it was a press conference effectively designed to give her immediate answers. We'll give this another minute or two to kind of reboot itself or fix itself or whatever, but not working right now as we speak, which is a shame. So unfortunately, unless something is fixed very shortly, we're going to have to depend upon the legacy media to put together their news packages and all of that, and then riff on that when that actually comes out. Because this is I'm sure they're not waiting for the feed to be corrected. I'm sure they're continuing on with the press conference. especially since the public information officer came out. She came out about 10 minutes. She came out about 9:20 or whatever. It's very common for a public information conference, press person to come out, and it kind of helps out the TV crews that are doing it. And she might even do a quick audio check just to make sure the microphone. And then she ran through the 4 people that were going to speak today. And then she did mention that Mr. Lyons was on a tight schedule. So that's a pretty common functionality that you see from a lot of press people 10 minutes or so before the press conference. They just want to make sure everything works, and also helping out your TV coverage, and answering any type of small obscure question, like how do you spell somebody's name, that type of thing. But yeah, wow, this is a shame that this is not working. I'm looking at both the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments, and they both seem to be here toast. In fact, now over at the YouTube page, they've just gone to the screensaver thing. So yeah, looks like we're not going to have a press conference. We'll give it another minute and see here. I'm glad that you're here. I hope that you watched my show this morning at 9 a.m. I want to do it at 8. I so want to do it at 8 a.m. But yeah, kids are home for the summer, and they like to sleep a little bit later, and Dad's loud. So yeah, there's that. It does look like a beautiful day. I think I just heard my wife walk out the door with the dog. But yeah, I was literally looking forward to getting some more details. Let's go back to the important press conference detail that was provided by Mr. Malusian. But before I did that, I wanted to bring up this really important story that is also breaking today. Let's see if we can bring it up here. And that is from Jessica Machado. Jessica Machado is reporting that another Massachusetts illegal immigrant has been charged with raping his daughter. Lorenzo Lopez Alacario has been charged with the rape of a child with force, aggravated victim. Sources tell me that Alacario blindfolded his 8-year-old daughter and raped her. Alacario allegedly recorded the rape, and the mother of the child found the video and turned him in. To be arraigned in Marlborough District Court as we speak. And you can go to Jessica Machado's show. That's her account. And she kind of attended the arraignment by Zoom, from what I understand. The facts set here laid before us, of course, are alleged and are reported by Jessica Machado here in this post, which went out this morning at about an hour and a half ago. Just like I couldn't even say it. I mean, just absolutely horrific. But she seems to have literally the receipts, so to speak, attached to this post from 10:14 this morning. Really just almost impossible to even say. And of course, that harkens back to the prior time something like that happened that we know about, at least. And that was what subsequently has been provided more detail to us through John Featherston, who ran one of these migrant Haley hotel shelters out in Marlborough, right? And I believe the victim in that case was slightly older. John Featherston could fact check me on that, but I think the child in that case was 13. Not that it really makes any difference. Oh my God. We have some type of feed coming back here. Let's see if we can pull this back up again.
Of our Massachusetts communities, today your streets are a little safer. To the victims of these alien offenders, know that today you will not be mistreated by your attackers. To any criminal alien offenders victimizing Massachusetts residents, ICE is not going away. We are coming for you. While removing these individuals is extremely gratifying, we still have a lot of work to do. While we covet a mutually beneficial cooperative relationship with our state and local partners, we will work around them when it becomes necessary to ensure the safety and security of Massachusetts. ICE and our federal law enforcement partners remain committed to protecting our communities and prioritizing the well-being of our public by locating, arresting, and removing criminal alien offenders and making our New England communities a safer place to live. Now, Special Agent in Charge, Homeland Security Investigations.
Pretty sure that was Field Office Director.
Thank
Hi.
you. Good morning, I think it is. My sincere thanks to Director Lyons, U.S. Attorney Foley, and all of our partners with whom I stand shoulder to shoulder with every day to ensure the safety and security of our communities. ICRO, CBP, U.S. Coast Guard, ATF, DEA, DSS, FBI, U.S. Marshal Service, the IRS, U.S. Attorney's Office, and many others. Today, as we announce the arrest of nearly 1,500 illegal aliens over the last 30 days, I want to reiterate, this is not a victory lap. Today is a collective reaffirmation of our commitment to ensuring the public safety and national security of our communities. With bringing unique authorities and expertise, HSI Special Agents will continue a whole-of-government approach to take the fight to transnational criminal actors and organizations who poison our communities, who exploit and victimize our children, who defraud our citizens and government systems, who illegally harbor and employ aliens, who perpetrate violence, and all of those who choose to ignore the rule of law. It should be no secret by now that you will continue to see all of our special agents and officers in your communities conducting daily enforcement actions 24/7. I caution those who try to impede or obstruct operations, or those who dare to threaten or assault our law enforcement officers. We have been and will continue to be working with the U.S. Attorney's Office to investigate and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Our job is to uphold the Constitution, and that's exactly what we're doing. I join my colleagues when I share my heartfelt thanks for the work of the frontline officers and agents who put their lives on the line every day in support of this great nation. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take some questions. Director Lyons, can you speak to the roughly 50 personnel? We'll get ABC News here.
Two questions. Number one, do you have any update on the Milford teenager that was detained by ICE over the weekend, and where is he? Do you have any status on where that person's name is? The second question is, the attack in Colorado overstated pizza, according to DHS, in the U.S. illegally.
Almost impossible to hear the question. Sorry about that.
So I'll take I'll take Colorado first. So I'll defer to the FBI on that one. It's an active joint terrorism investigation, obviously. Still in the early stages that ICE was able to identify that he had overstayed his visa. While he did have a work authorization permit, it was expired. So with that, I will say that there are millions of individuals like this that we are attempting to locate from the past administration that weren't properly screened, that were allowed in. I will tell you that's a huge effort for ICE right now. In regards to this gentleman, I can't give you any intel as far as it's a joint terrorism task force investigation, and more will be coming out, but I'll defer to my partners in the FBI for that one.
What about Marcelo Gomes so over the weekend?
In regard to Marcelo Gomes, he remains in ICE custody. He was not the target of the investigation, but like we have repeatedly said, sanctuary policies put us in a position to go out into communities and look for people. When jurisdictions don't cooperate with ICE and we don't arrest people in custodial arrests, then we must go out into the community. And when we go out into the community and we find others who are unlawfully here, we are going to arrest them. We've been completely transparent with that. He's 18 years old. He's unlawfully in this country. And unfortunately, we had to go to Milford to look for someone else, and we came across him, and he was arrested. That's where that stands.
You're looking for someone dangerous and violent?
I'll take that one. So we're looking for his father. So obviously he isn't the father of the year because brought his son up here illegally as well. And yes, we had intelligence from a local law enforcement agency. We were looking for the father. And like Field Officer Director High said, they made a traffic stop on that vehicle, which was the father's vehicle. He was driving that vehicle. But like any local law enforcement officer, if you encounter someone that has a warrant, or like I said, is here illegally, we will take action on that. We're doing the job that ICE should have been doing all along, and then we enforce all immigration laws.
What is dangerous about a high school junior? He was about to play in the graduation ceremony, play in the band the next day. What is the danger of the 18-year-old to that community?
So I'll put it back on you. What about an 18-year-old who's just stopped for a traffic violation by Mass State Police, who's wanted to be a habitual traffic offender on his way to graduation? Would you be asking that same question to the Mass State Police for not arresting him? Like, I didn't say he was dangerous. I said he's in this country illegally, and we're not going to walk away from anybody.
So where is he? Is he having due process? Does he have a lawyer?
Yeah, well, the whole due process thing, ICE doesn't just scoop people off the street and remove them. Everyone gets due process, and that is what the U.S. Attorney's Office is for. It's what the immigration courts are for. They all do that. He will go in front of an immigration judge. He'll have the opportunity to post bond. But again, I'm just going to ask you a question. Boston police stopped an 18-year-old on the way to high school. Are we having this conversation right now?
There would be a crime. There would be some evidence.
It happens every day. Every day. There are multiple 18-year-olds arrested, but yet we are focused on this one. And I will say, his dad hasn't turned himself in yet, and his dad knows he's the target of it. So
What's his dad targeted for? What's his dad targeted for?
Sorry, the other question. So the governor says Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, but your teams don't receive assistance if you hit like all these different counties across, not just in Boston, but in these other suburbs and places across the state. So what's your response to the governor on that, and how difficult is it for your teams to not get that assistance?
Todd Lyons just, again, you can't hear the question, but Todd Lyons just confirmed what we had speculated here on this
I
channel.
think it's a matter of semantics, right? We can say we're not a sanctuary state, but when people are arrested for local charges, drug traffickers who are peddling poison in our communities are walking out the door, not turned over to ICE. What does that sound like to all of you? That's sanctuary. When states and local jurisdictions don't cooperate with ICE and they let bad actors walk out into the community, they let child rapists just walk back out, $500 bail, that is sanctuary. So it's fine to say that you're not, but your actions absolutely show something different.
U.S. Supreme Court last week altered a ruling out of Boston. Blocked the administration of immigration for all for about half a year. A couple weeks earlier.
Again, you can't hear so just to finish my thought there, Todd Lyons just confirmed what I kind of collected on my own. The 18-year-old in Milford was driving his father's vehicle, and they were looking for the father. That's why we haven't heard from the parents, because ICE is looking for them.
In that case, I would refer you over to Citizen Immigration Services. They handle that. ICE is only the enforcement arm of the immigration process. So I can just say that anyone that does no longer has protective status would be in this country illegally, and ICE would take an enforcement action.
Yes, for the search. Tell me more about the search operation here, and exactly, what are the officers? Where are the officers coming from to try to help in terms of resources? Are these actual
also keep in mind that if Trump didn't win, if Harris won, probably none of these people would be standing in this room right now. And if you didn't vote for Trump, you didn't vote for this.
What I can tell you is no one's contracted. All the partners up here are Title VIII immigration designated officers. So every federal agency has a Title VIII authority. So these are federal law enforcement special agents and officers from all over the DHS, DOJ. Like I said, it's a whole of government approach. These aren't any contract individuals. But you can see what the numbers, like I said, we ran an operation before up here. And while they were on targeted operations for criminal aliens that were released, other ones were being released at the same time. 24 hours a day, criminal aliens are being released all over Massachusetts. The only way to account and take these other individuals back into custody was to go ahead and partner with our other DHS partners that are here and DOJ partners to ensure that we have the proper manpower to respond whenever someone's released from custody.
Now, on that point,
One question.
Can you guys offer a few more specifics on the charges? Are you counting illegal reentry as among those 709 people to submit the charges versus how many were convicted and violent versus non-violent crimes?
This is U.S. Attorney
Yes, those
Foley.
include people who had been previously deported, were found back in the Commonwealth, and have been charged again with illegal reentry.
So how many were charged?
I don't have that number, but I can tell you, for example, on May 7th, I believe, ICE took a man into custody who had been removed from the country 5 previous times. He had been arrested 9 times on serious criminal charges, including assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a person, kidnapping, unarmed robbery, threatening, and intimidation, and he had a conviction for an OUI. Another man who was arrested in Worcester had been deported 4 previous times. He came back into this country, had 3 open OUI charges. Each time he was arrested for OUI, he was released without notifying ICE so that they could go and pick him up safely and securely and put him back in deportation. It was only after he violated one of the terms of his release for that 3rd OUI that ICE was notified and the detainer was allowed to be executed.
Thank you very much. That's all the time we have. I'm sorry.
He was being charged, he was being held on violations of his release.
Does she have a handcuff brace necklace? I think she does. All right, that is it. That is it. Sorry about the feed breaking, but the feed did break. Let's cover some of the things that they very importantly said here in this press conference, and let's directly go back to the situation in Milford. Let's talk about that because they provided some additional information in the Milford case, which you had heard. He's just going to volleyball practice with his buddies. He's heading to volleyball practice with his buddies. He's a member of the community. He's been here since he's 5 years old. He's here in the country legally. And Todd Lyons made the perfect point that if they had pulled over this vehicle looking for somebody else, let's just say the Boston police or the state police, let's just say the state police. If the state police had pulled over this vehicle because they were looking for the kid's father, and they found out that the kid had a warrant on him, they'd arrest him. And Todd Lyons further made the point, 18-year-olds get arrested all the time. And with the professional but slight roll of the eyes, he was like, why are we making such a big deal out of this kid who will get his due process? It's not as if there's no due process. An arrest is the start of the due process, right? He will face an immigration judge, but he's in the country illegally, as Field Director Hyde mentioned. And so nobody talks about the kid who gets arrested because they have 97 parking tickets or whatever the case may be. If they have an outstanding warrant on you, you get arrested if you're stopped. And that would happen for any American kid, but it's apparently a hate crime, apparently, if you're ICE and you arrest a kid who's in the country legally because you pull over their car and you're actually looking for their dad. So who put this kid in the position that he's in now? Now we can actually positively say, just confirmed by Mr. Lyons himself, we can absolutely say that it was the parents that put this kid. Maura Healey, you want an answer? You demand, and you can't handle the answer. The answer was his parents. It was crystal clear when you sent out that post and that you're very upset statement. Did you ever think that maybe you should have waited till maybe some details came through? Because they were looking, as just confirmed by these U.S. officials, who thank God they're there, and thank God Trump won the election, because God knows who would be running the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Massachusetts if, Harris won. The reason why he got arrested because they were looking for his father. That's why his father's not down at the cameras. That's why the father's not at the protest, because ICE is looking for him. And his father put that kid in that position. That's your answer, Maura. Anybody else with a comment? Let's see if we have any comments today. Not at the moment, but let's get back to your summary here. Very important comments here from the Gomes situation. And also from the U.S. Attorney, very at the end, Leah Foley, who said that they asked for some numbers and she couldn't give any numbers off the top of her head, but she anecdotally mentioned 2 particular cases of what I call boomerang cases where they commit a crime, get deported, and then come back. And she mentioned an individual that had happened in May 7th. He had come and gone like a revolving door through the sanctuary policies here of Massachusetts 5 times. 5 times. She mentioned this other case or this other individual that had come through the revolving sanctuary door here in Massachusetts 4 times. A habitual DUI individual. Who's making our streets safer? These people that you just saw? I think they are. They're making the streets. Does it sound as if they are making our streets more? No. They just took off the street 1,461 people that shouldn't be here. That's crime number 1. And 970 that had committed crime or been law enforcement involved, and 270 something that had final orders of deportation. And like this kid in Milford, this 18-year-old Milford, collateral damage. Who put that kid in that car to be arrested by ICE? His parents did. That's why they're nowhere to be found. In case you were wondering, Maury Healy. Some other things that was said today, reviewing the statements. I believe this was from the field director, Patricia Hyde, that she, and I'm going to paraphrase here, not direct quotes, they do covet a partnership whenever possible with local officials, of which clearly the spirit of this entire press conference seems to be hard to come by here in Massachusetts. Nonetheless, with or without that partnership, if you're here in the country illegally, ICE is coming after you, to paraphrase again her phrase. And all of these actions make New England safer. And there was also a very strong theme through all of the comments that I heard from Mr. Kroll, Miss Hyde, Miss Foley, Mr. Lyons, of a whole of government approach. I was very impressed with, when you listen to the lengthy number of agencies that were involved in this approach over the last couple of weeks here in Massachusetts, that was a lot of federal agents, a lot of alphabets being brought to bear here. Coast Guard, IRS, just like the whole thing. So congratulations to them. And not a victory lap, as they said, not a victory lap. This is a step in the right direction. There seems to be much more work to be done. It's unfortunate that we could not hear from the attorney, the U.S. Attorney Foley, but the feed seemed to have broken on everybody. I'm glad we stayed with it to at least hear the last 5 minutes or whatever it was there. So we do have a couple of comments here. Let's bring up the first one from Kenny. His parents put him in that situation, and Maura put the parents in that situation by her own actions instead of doing what's the right thing and followed the law. Right. And Mr. Holman has been describing this at length since he walked, maybe even before he took the job officially. He said, hey, we're going to have to ramp up our, I would just call them on-street activities. And rather than arrest somebody at the police station, like in the lobby of the police station or in the Sally port of the police station, where it's a controlled environment, everyone's safer, rather than do that, which is what happens in all sorts of other places across the country. We're actually going to have to deploy people on the street. And when we do that, we put everybody at risk. Everyone's risk goes way up. The officers go, the risk to the officers, the risk to the general public, the risk to the arrestee everyone's risk goes way up. And Homan said, hey, we don't want to do that, but if you're not going to cooperate, we're going to have to dial up and that's just what it's going to be. We're not going to allow you to effectively operate a sanctuary state here. And then all of a sudden you have all the wacky nut liberals. I don't even want to call them liberals, any lefties, like the lady in Plymouth, here in beautiful Plymouth, down at Perry's Market on Standish Avenue, with her cell phone. This is illegal. This is illegal. No, it's not, lady. It's entirely illegal. Where's your warrant? And then literally she stands in front of the guy's police car. He says, move out of the way. She says no. And then he has to put the siren on. And then she finally steps out of the way. But they made it very clear today. And I don't think I have the exact quote, but they made it very clear that if you impede or obstruct, or even much, much worse, threaten to assault or interfere, they are not going to put up with that in any way, shape, or form. So, hey, if you're going to go out and film, for instance, like those young people did in East Boston by the auto body shop, you better, if ICE is walking towards your location and you're standing between them and their vehicle, step aside. Yeah. Have a smaller footprint here. Be a little bit mindful of what's going on. It's one thing to stand on the sidewalk and record law enforcement. That's fine. Photography is not a crime. Photography is not a crime, as long as you're, out in the public space. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't impede, obstruct, or otherwise assault federal law enforcement during the conduct of their official duty, or even their unofficial duty, for that matter. So great question, Kenny. Yes, it was her policy and his parents' decision, whenever that was, to come into our country illegally and to live here illegally for from what we understand at this point, was multiple years. Bitcoin real estate guy. Well, thank you very much, Bitcoin guy. Thank you. Great live stream. Thanks for it. My pleasure. It was great to be with you today. We will be back with more news as it develops. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack. Have a great Monday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.